British Airways have made it significantly harder to achieve status in the executive club by making the process revenue-based. Now the main thing that determines your status in the program is how much money you spend on tickets. I'm gonna skip over any kind of emotional response to this because there is already plenty of that on the internet, and instead in this video we're gonna focus on what can be done going forward. Specifically, we are gonna look at 4 different approaches that allow you to maintain a similar level of benefits to BA Silver. Why Silver? Because it's kind of the sweet spot in terms of status, where you already get free seat selection and lounge access, and those are the core benefits of having status with BA anyway. I'll also explain which path I will pick personally going forward and why. So let's get started. Now, since you are watching this video, I assume that you're already familiar to the changes to the executive club, or the club, how it's now called. But just in case, really quickly, you now need to spend £3,500 in order to achieve bronze, £7,500 in order to achieve silver, and then £20,000 a year on tickets in order to achieve gold. And bear in mind that these figures exclude airport and government taxes, so the actual amount you'll need to spend in reality is going to be a little bit higher, like 20–30% higher. Which means that in order to achieve silver, for example, we are looking at roughly £7,000 of spend a year, which is a very steep increase compared to how cheaply silver could be obtained in the past if you take advantage of tier point runs. So the question is, in this new reality, what is the best course of action going forward? Our first option is to just accept the new rules of the club and play by them. As I said earlier, silver now requires 7,500 tier points, where 1 tier point is equivalent to £1 spent on tickets minus airport and government taxes. However, there are a few caveats that make it not as bad as it may sound. First of all, BA has announced that starting from some point in 2025, you'll be able to earn up to 2,500 tier points per year by spending money on your British Airways Premium Plus card from American Express. The exact formula has not been revealed yet, but I'm inclined to believe that you'd need to spend around £25,000 a year on that card in order to get the full 2,500 tier points, making it around £10 of spend for 1 tier point. Secondly, the hotel or car rental portion of the BA holidays will now also earn tier points, meaning that your spend to trigger status doesn't have to be just on flights. One major detail here is that if there are multiple people on the holiday booking, the tier points will be split between them equally. And finally, we have to remember that all of this is also very new to BA, and while I'm sure that their decision must have been very data-driven, they're very likely to be making temporary and/or permanent adjustments through various promotions, giving you opportunities here and there to earn additional tier points. So all in all, I think for someone who's already using British Airways Premium Plus as one of their primary credit cards, and also is prepared to step up their usage of BA holidays a little bit, it is quite realistic to earn silver status. Don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near as easy as it used to be, but I think it's still realistic. And what do you get in exchange for sticking to these new and harder rules? Well, you get a little bit more of exclusivity. There are probably going to be less people going through fast track, there is probably going to be a quieter lounge, the boarding area during the priority boarding groups is probably going to be a little less busy, because when the thresholds for status go up, naturally less people are going to achieve that status. Alternatively, instead of chasing this with BA, you could try to secure an equivalent One World status, which is Sapphire, with another One World airline. And then since status earned with one airline gives you benefits across the alliance, this would work just as well as having BA Silver. However, personally, this is probably the approach that I would recommend the least, and I'm going to explain why in just a minute. But in the meantime, out of the One World carriers that have not yet moved to a revenue-based system, it looks like currently Iberia and Finnair are the easiest ones to get One World Sapphire through. I have a friend who's based in Boston who's done some specific calculations on this front, and he worked out a cost of $4,000 with Iberia and $6,000 with Finnair to get an equivalent of BA Silver when flying out of Boston. Now, I think it would be reasonable to assume that you could do the same when flying out of the UK or Europe and stay roughly in the same region when it comes to spending, meaning that you'd need to spend between £3,000 and £4,000 in order to get One World Sapphire through these airlines. Alternatively, there is also Qatar, but things seem to be a little bit harder there, and you definitely need to spend over £5,000 in order to get the same level of status. And while these may be cheaper ways to get status than earning it directly with BA, they might not be the most reliable ones. Specifically, Iberia is extremely likely to follow BA's example. In fact, I'm willing to bet that they're gonna shift to a revenue-based model at some point in 2025, and then Finnair and Qatar are bound to follow this move as well at some point later. This is now a general trend in the industry. So the reason why I don't like this approach of just switching to another One World airline is that you may put a lot of time and effort into securing status with that airline and then just end up in the same boat at some some later point. Now the option 3 today is to switch to a different airline alliance. Especially if you already have status with BA, you could request a status match with another airlines from another alliance in order to give you head start. For example, in the past, I've been able to match my BA Gold to Virgin Atlantic Gold, which is equivalent to SkyTeam Elite Plus, or before that, I matched my BA Silver to Star Alliance Gold via Turkish Airlines. When it comes to actually earning status in another alliance, my carrier of choice would probably be again Turkish Airlines, because it allows you to earn Star Alliance Gold for just 40,000 status miles, and then that status is going to be valid for 2 years. I've also heard Matt from Matt's Planet say plenty of good things about Aegean, and I've looked into that and it does seem like a very nice program, but for me personally, Turkish Airlines is going to work better because with Aegean, there is a requirement to do a certain number of flights on their metal in order to achieve status, and that's not the airline I already fly with. Whereas with Turkish Airlines, I already use them regularly. Now, the couple of downsides to switching to a different alliance are, well, obviously, you might have to make an additional connection from time to time when there is no direct flight, because let's face it, BA has a pretty great network out of London. But actually, if you're based in another UK city, this might work the opposite way, where airlines like Air France or KLM actually have more direct flights to UK cities than BA does. So this may not apply to you. But the other downside of going to another alliance would be that you would sort of be missing out on the amazing Avios ecosystem that we have in the UK, where you have a bunch of credit cards and a lot of other ways to earn Avios so that you can redeem them for premium flights. Whereas for a lot of non-Avios airlines, this might be significantly harder. And that kind of brings me to option number 4, to become sort of status agnostic, because look, all the opportunities to earn and redeem Avios and things like 2-for-1 vouchers, upgrade vouchers are still there. So you can still get premium flights for a fraction of the cost by using Avios. And if you ever want to wander outside the One World Alliance, then you can use transferable points like Amex membership rewards. And outside of redemptions, it becomes so much easier to find heavily discounted business class tickets when you're not tied to a specific alliance. And finally, for the cases when you're flying economy and still would like to have lounge access, there are plenty of UK credit cards that are going to give you that, and some of them are also going to come with fast track security at certain airports. One thing you'd be losing though with this option is the free seat selection with BA, which means that even when you book Avios flights, even in premium cabins, you would have to start paying for seats. And that sort of brings us to the option that I am personally planning to pursue. Basically, my plan is to do a hybrid of options 1 and 4, where I continue to fly BA pretty much as usual as I did in 2024, because as I shared in my previous video about the gold status, in 2024 I made the conscious decision to not chase status, and I still organically achieved silver, but I was not able to requalify for gold. Now if I just continue, organically flying BA when it most suits me, I'm likely to only qualify for bronze, but that is still good enough for me. I get free seat selection 7 days before the flight. I still, regardless of the executive club changes, enjoy flying BA as an airline. I'm not saying it's the best airline out there. I'm saying that it compares very, very well to its European competition. It's head and shoulders above its American competition. And when it comes to comparing it to the Middle Eastern airlines, you don't really have to do that. You can just fly Qatar and not compare. So that's kind of my strategy, and I really like BA for what it is. And so yeah, one part of the plan is to just continue flying as usual with them and likely qualify for bronze. And on the other hand, I'm just going to continue to enjoy experiences with other airlines based on whatever airline works best for the specific trip that I have in mind. I mean, if I were to dial up my usage of BA holidays, that would qualify me for silver. But the thing is, I usually book hotels directly with the hotel because, I like to enjoy the benefits of the hotel status, or sometimes I book through American Express Fine Hotels and Resorts collection because there are extra benefits there. And continuing to do that is more valuable to me than achieving silver with BA. So I'm just gonna follow business as usual with BA and see how it goes. Maybe I'll get lucky and manage to get both silver and not have to change my booking and travel patterns. And finally, before we close this video, a lot of people are upset because BA clearly didn't handle this very well. I mean, the process itself, not necessarily the change, and they also didn't offer a lot of commitments like the double tier point promotion, and they kind of screwed the people who are going towards lifetime gold. But now that this has already happened, I think it's just important to not take any of it personally and continue to look out for what's best for you. And with that, I hope this video was useful to you, and if you feel like exploring a little bit more the Avios side of the game, check out this video where I talk about the 2 best credit cards in the UK to earn Avios from. And alternatively, if you're thinking about checking out another alliance, here is my review of the regional Turkish Airlines business class, which, to be honest, was pretty amazing. Thank you so much for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.